You know what's fascinating? The very first recorded deception in human history wasn't some elaborate scheme. It was just three simple words. Did God really? Those words changed everything.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. The power of subtle doubt to reshape our entire worldview.
And what's remarkable is how this ancient text from Genesis captures something so fundamentally true about human psychology. The progression from doubt to justification to action. It's like watching a blueprint for how we still make destructive choices today.
Well, speaking of psychology, studies have shown that most ethical failures start exactly this way, with small rationalizations that grow into bigger compromises. It's like watching dominoes fall.
Hmm. You know what's often overlooked in this story? The text specifically mentions that Adam was right there with Eve during the whole exchange. He wasn't some innocent bystander. He made a conscious choice.
That's exactly what biblical scholars have pointed out. The Hebrew text uses plural pronouns in that passage, suggesting they were both active participants in this decision.
And then look at what happens immediately after. This fascinating psychological shift where shame enters human consciousness for the first time. They go from being naked and unashamed to suddenly scrambling to cover themselves.
The implications of that moment are staggering when you think about it. Every culture throughout history has developed some concept of shame and honor. It's like we're all living in the aftershocks of that moment.
You know, anthropologists have documented over 400 different flood myths across world cultures, but this theme of a paradise lost and the introduction of shame into human experience, that shows up even more frequently.
So, what do you think that tells us about human nature and our relationship with moral choices?
Well, I think it suggests something profound about our shared human experience. This universal sense that something's broken, that we can't fix ourselves. Like, we keep trying to cover our shame with fig leaves, but we know deep down it's not enough.
The way they respond to God's presence is particularly telling, hiding among the trees. Modern psychology talks about avoidance behaviors, but here it is described thousands of years ago.
And then comes this incredible moment where God asks, "Where are you?" Not because he doesn't know, but because he's inviting them to acknowledge their situation. It's this pattern we see throughout history: divine pursuit meeting human hiding.
That pursuit aspect really stands out. Even as he's pronouncing consequences, he's already laying out this plan for redemption through the offspring of the woman.
Right. And look at how comprehensive these consequences are. It affects their work, their relationships, their connection with God, even their relationship with the natural world. Everything gets fractured. But there's this thread of hope woven through it all.
The way God clothes them with animal skins is particularly meaningful. It's the first hint that covering shame would require sacrifice.
You know what's fascinating about that? Archaeological evidence shows that sacrificial systems developed independently across ancient civilizations. It's like this deep human intuition that restoration requires costly sacrifice.
That really brings it home. How we're all caught up in both the tragedy and the hope of this story. We experience the brokenness, but we can also experience the healing.
And ultimately, that's what makes this more than just an origin story of how things went wrong. It's the beginning of the greatest rescue mission in history, God's plan to restore what was lost and make all things new.
So, in essence, we're still living out both sides of this story, the reality of our brokenness and the hope of restoration.
Exactly. And maybe that's why this ancient text still resonates so powerfully today, because it speaks to something we all know is true about ourselves and our world, while also pointing toward hope for genuine transformation.